Hey, I'm Mark Hill, a California middle-aged dad who started mountain biking when the pandemic turned the world upside down. Mountain biking quickly became a huge part of my life, so much so that I wanted to share my adventures on the trail with you and chat with other riders who love this sport, from everyday shredders to pro athletes and industry insiders. So I created a podcast and a YouTube channel where we explore the thrill of the ride, one episode at a time. Welcome to the segment. Thanks for tuning in, and hey, we'll see you at the top. Yo, what's up, everybody? We are back. Joey Yates, what's happening? Episode 196, brother. Oh no, we are so rusty that Joey got muted. You still can't hear him. There he is. He's saying, what the heck? I can read his lips. He's saying, what the heck? He's going to work. We are back, folks. Thank you all so much for staying with us and tuning in. We have a special guest in the studio tonight. We have Andrew Siminoff. He is a wealth of information. I was actually talking to Andrew earlier in the week about bikes. I know that we have the YT logo in the upper right corner, but the show isn't sponsored by YT anymore. There's been lots and lots of changes. So I'm looking at different bikes. I keep texting Joey bikes going, hey, what about this bike? What about that bike? And so hopefully there'll be a new bike here in the future. We don't maybe not have a bike sponsor, but maybe a bike shop we can announce. That's on the future coming up. Joey, are you back? You're getting notified here. It says Joey is back. Can we hear you? We can't hear him. He's doing sign language for the folks that are listening in. Joey's doing sign language. Electric Trail Surfer is saying, keep the YT flag up. Keep it up. Yeah, we could definitely do that. But what are some other bikes out there that look and sound interesting? I know one of them that I'm looking at was Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz bikes look amazing. Intense looks amazing. I don't know, Joey, are we allowed to say, like, I know you're muted, but are we allowed
you can hear me
now? There you are. You're back. We can hear you.
It had something to do with my phone. It was, I don't know. It was connecting to my phone and not to my computer. I'm rusty. It's been a while. I'm nervous. What are we talking about?
I know. I had to kill a spider just to get to my microphone. It was actually, I didn't kill it. I moved it to another place in the house. But what do you think about bikes? Like, we've been with YT for a while. Where and what are you looking at as far as bikes go?
Well, right now I'm enjoying my YT decoy. Nothing's changing there, and I'm going to continue to enjoy it and for a while. But some of the bikes I've been looking at, this is tomato or tomato. We can say commensal or commensal.
Yes.
I'm looking at the Meta, and then propane has got my attention also. So those are the two that I'm eyeballing.
Beautiful bikes. Well, we should get our guest to join us on this conversation. Andrew Siminoff is a wealth of information for the folks of you who are listening out there. He has worked for Fox. He's worked for Knight Rider, Shimano, RockShox, global marketing manager at Specialized, and now he's in the Logitech doing the pro gaming stuff, but just a wealth of information. And every time I ride with Andrew, I'm like, dude, I love that guy. And when I was talking to him earlier in the week, I'm like, he would be a great person to have on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring him on, Mr. Andrew Siminoff.
Hey, everybody. Is my mic working?
Yeah. We can hear you. All right.
You're great. You sound good.
Gotta have my mic working. Yeah, awesome riding with Joey and Mark. I ride quite a bit and have been in bikes. I mean, started racing BMX in 1979 and had a passion for it. Also did a lot of skateboarding. And then when mountain bikes came around, I was in the backyard of Specialized and where mountain bikes were originated. And all of a sudden there was a BMX bike for adults and got involved in that. Stayed in it, worked in bike shops, ran the mountain bike club at San Diego State while I was there, and then went into the industry. And then I've left the bike industry, but kind of keep connected to it through my riding and a Facebook page that I have, and just kind of it's fun to be an enthusiast again because it keeps the magic alive.
Yeah. Did you ever feel when you were in the business of the biking world, was it blurring the lines of fun and work in that world, or was it easy to separate?
It absolutely does. I mean, first there's the part of just being passionate about reading the new stuff and seeing what's coming out, and eventually it just becomes stuff. People are excited about new parts. You're like, it's just a bin of parts. And yeah, the rides when you're working all day on bikes or talking about them or marketing them or all the different roles that I've done, it's not as fun to go ride your bike. You want to do something else. So it kind of,
Heard about that.
you do it because that's what your passion is, and it kind of eats at your passion. And now I've got a good job, but I'm excited about bikes again, so it is kind of double-edged.
I could understand that. I was curious about that. It's like it would eat away at it. But now you're in this beautiful spot where you've got a good job, all the bikes you can pick of your choosing. We're all somewhat in the same boat. For full transparency, Andrew Siminoff was also an ambassador at YT with us. So when YT went under, or closed shop here in the US, as they say, we are all kind of displaced somewhat. And some of the guys on the team have landed at great places. I think Steve Caballero just signed with Intense. Yeah, which is exciting. And he's taking pictures on that new dirt jumper that he's got. That thing looks beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, he's got some stuff coming.
Yeah.
We're all waiting to see it. But yeah, he's got some
I
stuff.
know.
That dude's 61 and he's clearing the jumps with the best of the guys over there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The grace of his skateboarding is carried over to the bike. He's so smooth. It's amazing to watch him ride.
So smooth. It's crazy because like when Joey and I are riding with them, if we see something gnarly out there, we'll try to like pass it as quick as possible. Especially if it's at the beginning of the ride and you see Cab look at it and you're like, oh no, we're totally gonna go over there. It's happening. We're gonna go hit something gnarly.
I've tried to talk him out of certain jumps. I'm like, that thing's got a horrible landing. You can't get speed for it. He's like, oh, I gotta hit it. I've also watched him crash a lot.
Yeah, he just bounces up. I'm like, damn, how? How?
Usually.
But Andrew, so what are you looking at over there? I know Joey was saying propane. He was looking at Commensal and Santa Cruz. I was looking at the Santa Cruz. Some of the Bosch stuff looks good, but the DJI Avinox motors, I know we could talk about that. There's like, is their credibility good? Do we know? Do they have the support? But with all that in the mix, like, what are you thinking?
So I definitely like full power. I'm kind of partial to TRP brakes, so I'll swap them, but I'd like to find something with that. One of the biggest things for me is range. Looking at I like the Santa Cruz bikes a lot, but the batteries are small. I'm looking at things like, I want at least a 700 battery, but more like an 800. So, the Pivot LT or Pivot All Mountain, the Commensal Meta 800, I think I told you on the call, DJI owns Avinox Amflow, and I worked alongside DJI when I was in the photo industry prior to Logitech. I had a lighting company. Anyway, that's a side story, but the idea was DJI's support was pretty bad in the drone space, and the motors haven't been around long enough, so I'm impressed with the power. I'm also kind of intrigued to get one before you can't, because they're breaking the class 1 e-bike rules, which Specialized is too. But I like the power. I don't abuse the trails. But I feel like had pretty good luck with Shimano. I have 2 decoys. One's in the shop right now because the motor just died after 2,400 miles, and I was averaging about 3,000 miles of motor. I've got 15,000 miles of e-bike time now. So it seems like motor exhaust about 3,000, and it seems like they all are equally reliable or not reliable, whether it's Bose, Yamaha, Bosch, Shimano. I mean, they all have their challenges. I don't know how DJI will handle that. I know with the Shimano, they're not serviceable, but I've had 4 motors replaced under warranty. It'd be nice.
That's nice.
Bosch is pretty good about that. And I know with the earlier Specialized motors, you could get in them and repair them yourself, or a shop could do it and replace belts or bearings. I think motors should be serviceable. It's kind of like selling a two-stroke motorcycle and saying you can't replace the piston. Like, you expect these things to wear. You expect all bike parts to wear.
Yeah,
But,
that's a good point.
But to answer more specifically your question, definitely something with a bigger battery. So the pivot bikes look good. Just started looking at Mondraker. I don't know people that ride them around me, but they've got some pretty nice builds.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about YT, about how things went down with the US office and watching the rebirth. But the latest decoy they just launched, that I only know one person around here that has one, Hunter, that worked at YT. It's a killer bike. Geometry's updated from ours. Got the TRP brakes that I like. It came with the Crip Total tires that I like. They're already on there. And the Bosch motor with the 100 Newton meters. So that was a really nice bike, but I don't know how their support will be. And we definitely won't have the mills like we had and that community that we had with YT. But it's still a pretty premium bike if they can support it in the US.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And it sounds like they're going to rebirth it. I know Marcus Flossman was just in the US, or may still be in the US doing a bunch of things. And so who knows what that looks like, right? Will that mean that they're in bike shops? Here is that. Oh, wait, why am I on the Bosch motor? I'm rusty myself. This is not where I want to be. Let me just turn that off before it goes to a website I don't want to share with everybody.
One of the things that I saw on the DJI motor is Colorado Kid did a ride last week. He did it in Eco, and he got 41 miles on one battery.
Whoa.
And I think it was like 5,000 feet of climbing.
Wow.
How's their Eco compared to everyone else's Eco?
I'm assuming their Eco is pretty close to our Boost. would be my guess with that motor.
Right. Going back to that, what you said, Andrew, about the YT one, it says the 2025 YT Industries decoy features the Gen 5 Bosch Performance Line CX motor, which that just got an update, right? A software update, over-the-air software update, delivering 100 Newton meters of torque, 750 watt peak power, and 400% assistance. Whoa. Okay, cool.
Right. So that's the same motor in the common saw Meta SX. So if you go with the Bosch line there,
that's what it'll be.
That motor's in a lot of the Santa Cruz bikes, but they have a 640 watt battery, I believe, which I want to ride full power, and I want to be able to do more than 20 miles without thinking about it. And that seems to be challenging with a lot of this. If you don't have a huge battery, and the Bosch seems to run a little bit more efficiently. I know the Specialized bikes and the Bosch bikes seem to go a little farther than the Shimano bikes on the same size battery. So some of the guys that ride with it can do more than 30 miles running full power with the 800 battery. So I'd like to be able to do that. I don't like ending my rides because I'm running out of power.
Yeah,
right.
True. That's the worst. Or when you don't have enough torque, like when I was trying to keep up with all you guys at Vail on my SN, I was like dying.
Andrew does long rides from his place, and when I ride with him, I'm on the small battery, so I'm always in Eco just to make sure I can get home. And I usually come home on 1 bar, creeping on in. Also, when we rode with a certain someone that was on a YT with the Bosch motor, that explains why he was pulling up the hill so much faster than us.
Oh, yeah. That was on the new bike. The new bike build.
That was on the new YT, yeah.
So we had 100 Newton meters of torque in that
thing. Yeah.
Okay. So then the question is, Andrew, are you the type of rider that the weight doesn't matter so much for your ride? Like the bigger battery, the distance is more important, and you don't feel the weight as much?
I really don't feel much difference between the 720 and 540 on my YT. I've tried. I've carried a second battery on the bike, and that's a penalty because I was strapping it to the top tube. And, I was able to get some epic rides in. I was able to go out and do a 35-mile ride from my home and run full power and just swap 2 batteries, but I was suffering carrying that. But with the battery where it is low on the down tube, you really don't feel the weight. Even jumping, I feel very little difference. So for me, it's worth having the battery. And then I know with Bosch, they've got that range extender. So you can carry another, 250 watts for about 3 pounds, pops in a water bottle cage or on the water bottle mount. So that's pretty cool. A guy just started riding with us, and he has a Santa Cruz, and he has that extender. He didn't bring it on the last ride, and he barely made it back. but we did 19 miles with some pretty good climbs. I'm like, man, bring the range extender. You don't have to think about it, on those longer rides.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how the range extender too, it slides right into where your water bottle goes. So, and you don't need them so much on the e-bike, but there's some right there. But yeah, they're pretty light, and 250, that doesn't suck. Here's one. Here's a good picture. We'll blow this one up for everyone to see. You guys see that one? It goes right there. So I mean, that's cool. That's a cool option. Definitely a cool option.
It should actually make that look
question.
exactly like a water bottle.
Electric Trail Surfer was asking about, he made a comment about U.S. repairs. E-bike motor repair does not work on Shimano motors. They sell some parts, but they have tamper resistance on the motors, and they used to have you sign a waiver. Now they just keep you from, or they just don't work on them anymore. There is a guy in Poland that still does, and he's on Facebook a lot showing the motors he takes apart. And yes, we were talking about Steve Caballero. I grew up skateboarding with him and ride dirt bikes with him, and now mountain bikes quite a bit. And I'm always fixing his bike.
Don't forget to lose your chain, folks.
To be fair, you fix everybody's bike.
I'm always working on people's bikes.
When I got a flat up at the bike park, that was the first thing.
Louis Enyo?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, too bad Andrew's not here."
Yeah, you have all the tools.
If you know how to work on bikes and you have the tools, the spares, who's got a chain tool and a quick link or a tube in their pack or a plug? Oh, I do. I'll work on your bike.
Yeah.
Always prepared. Always prepared. Electric Trail Surfer is saying bigger battery and full power is better. Yeah, I mean, when Joey and I first jumped on e-bikes, we were coming from analog, and then Joey, you pulled the trigger on the full size decoy. I think the MK1 or the MK2. And then so I did, because I can't have my riding buddy on an e-bike and me on an analog. And you didn't have to twist my arm very far to get me on an e-bike.
That was like a whole 2 days, I think, maybe.
Yeah, it was just not enough time to crush enough cans to go to the recycling company, get the money for it. But dude, I thought I'd jump on that thing and I get pulled out of the sky. I thought that I would blow through corners because the bike would be too heavy. I thought going downhill would be harder on keeping the bike balanced and stuff. But honestly, I never really felt a huge difference in that. What I did find is that I got better because I felt like I had more reps. I was able to practice more. I was able to memorize trails better because I just hit them in more frequency. And I think I was having way more fun, in what used to be the 9 miles, because it was now 18 miles, and it was just easy to do.
And that weight just plows through chunk too. Like if you're doing steep downhill, it just plows through it. It's like driving a trophy truck versus a stock 4x4.
And you can explore.
Yeah.
You do a long climb and someone's like, "Where's that trail go?" And you don't want to waste your climbing energy on an acoustic bike, but when you're on an e-bike, let's go check it out. We'll just come back up. If it's not cool, we'll hit another trail.
So fun. It's so fun. Yeah. Dude, the place I feel the worst though on the e-bikes is when I go to Sky Park and I'm passing everybody on the analogs on the way up. And I'm just like, I'm trying my best to just slow down, go around them. But, I usually leave there with a couple cheater or I'm earning my climbs. I get those still sometimes, but, it's fun.
They do have a members only climb, Mark. You don't have to go up the other route.
That's true. I should always do that one. That one's a lot better.
I know it has a name. I call it members only, but I know it's got a name.
Yeah, it's like electric baller or something, or trail baller or something.
There's 2 e-bike only climbs. They get you right to the top if that place is crowded. There's so many people that make fun of e-bikes. My son used to make fun of me until I brought a tow up to Sky Park and pulled him to the top 10 times in a day. And he ended up switching to e-bikes, and it's hard to go back. I wanted to, train and alternate, and I ride a regular bike and I feel like I'm pedaling through wet cement. I've just kind of gotten used to e-bike power.
Yeah. Yeah, totally can tell. I totally can feel that, because sometimes, what is it, Joey, when we jump back on the analog bikes, we're like, dude, do I have a flat tire?
It feels like it's got a flat tire and you're stuck in sand or mud.
It takes a while
for your brain to, this one doesn't go.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did by chance, did you see Tommy's latest video where he's towing an e-biker up the hill on the DJI motor?
I did. Did you see
Yeah.
that one, Andrew?
I haven't seen that.
Oh man, he's racing Casey, and Casey's on a Bosch, right?
Yes.
He's on a Bosch motorbike with the new update, 100 meters of torque, 800 watt, and Tommy's on the M-Flow, and I believe he's towing Noah. I
That
think.
sounds right.
Yeah, and they're racing up this hill, and he's towing him, and he almost wins in a full-on sprint. Yeah, here you go. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, the guy he's towing is not pedaling at all.
Yeah. He's like, don't pedal. I want to see if I can if I can get this guy. Crazy. And he's on the Amflow. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
That's insane. There's Casey trying to race him. I love Tommy's videos. They're the best, man.
I mean, that's 200 pounds of dead weight back there, right?
Yeah. Right? Rider plus bike plus gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like in this arena now. I mean, that Amflow is super powerful and it's light. So is it the best of both worlds? What's that, Joey?
Yeah. Is it too powerful is the question.
Good question.
Well, you can always turn the power down.
Yeah, that's I think
true.
that's the key.
You know,
That's
and
true.
the Amflow is the bike brand, which is also owned by DJI, but the Avanox is the motor, which is going into, you know, Crestline, Commensal.
Yeah,
so many people are picking it up. So it'd be interesting to see how it does, and it's really wild to see Shimano become eclipsed, and it seems like Bosch is the number 2, and Avanox is the one everyone's talking about. I just don't know enough. I mean, you see some failures, but I see a lot of stuff. I follow the Amflow riders page, and a lot of those people are first-time EMTB riders or buyers, so they don't have the comparison, because I know a lot of people have had Shimano and then they got Bosch, and they can tell you what they like and dislike. But most of the people I've seen on the Amflow bikes are new to mountain bikes, so they don't really have the history.
Could you imagine going from an Amflow? It's like, is there a need to go anywhere else after that? Like, you're basically going. Are you going? Which way are you going when it comes to that? You're gonna have less power, less torque if you move away from Amflow. If that's your first one,
that's the first bike. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I switched over to the SN with YT, and that bike was a ton of fun because it was light. It was like I could feel like the e-bike holding the line because the weight of the e-bike is down like in the middle. And as far as playfulness, it felt a little more playful than the full size e-bike. But man, I was lacking in just climbing up the hill with everybody, just trying to keep up the whole time. I was like, I'm not an analog, but I'm not a full size E, and everyone here is full size E, so I'm struggling. I know someone's listening right now going, oh my God, no way. But yeah, I was struggling. Like that Vail ride, that was nuts. I felt like we were sprinting the whole day. That New Year's one.
We were sprinting the whole day. It was all XC riders we were with.
I mean, when you're chasing EC and he's leading the route,
yeah,
you know, in his work boots and his pants on a borrowed rental EMTB, and he's just slaughtering us.
right.
Yeah.
That guy's bionic. And with the trail speed we had, he could clear every jump, and no one else was clearing him, or not no one, but
yeah,
he's got crazy pop, that guy.
Yeah, he does. I'm glad you guys felt like we were sprinting, because I was dying. I was pedaling so hard and my bike was working so hard that my cassette like started to come undone, so much so that it pushed out onto the frame to where I got wheel lock. I couldn't even pedal my bike at the end, so I had to coast down the hill. That was rough. Electric Trail Surfer saying, my friend Daniel, who rides with Reckless Riders, took the Amflow to Snow Summit and sent it like a DH bike. The Amflow can handle the DH if you go to a 170/38. Oh yeah, that's right. Because the Amflow is what, 150/150 or 150/140?
Yeah.
I do feel comfortable on a bigger enduro though.
Yeah, those are the questions. Like, I want to ride that Commensal because it is a longer chainstay. They claim really good stability, and some of the reviewers are saying it's not as poppy feeling. And I'm used to that YT where it's real agile and it jumps really well, and it wheelies. I like to, when I'm bored, I like to wheelie up the hills because I can with the power.
Right. Yeah, that's so hard. I don't know what to do with the bikes.
Demos. We have to
Demos.
demo now.
That's true. Yeah, demoing it would be amazing. Like just looking at that Meta SX, there it is right there. That's a beautiful bike. That's
That's with the Bosch
180,
motor,
right? That's the Bosch motor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're pushing $10,000, you want to make sure you're going to love it because that's 10,800, I think, right there when it's not on sale.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. What do you think about? I think their premium build has the Fox Podium forks on it. What do you guys think about the Fox Podium forks? I mean, yeah, it's upside down. It looks cool, but what else does it do? I'm only asking because I don't know.
A lot of people I've talked to like them. I've got a friend that has two, lives in Vegas, rides really rocky terrain. They do have a little more flex than a traditional fork. You do need a custom axle, so you can't swap your wheels with your other bikes. It's a 20 millimeter instead of a 15.
Oh,
And there is a fair amount of stiction in the fork, and people have demoed that. So you do get some bind because of the way they've done the bushings. So it's interesting. It's beautiful. It's heavy. And I think people love the look. It looks super moto-y, but it's you're carrying some extra weight and you're not getting the rigidity that you would hope for. So I don't know. I haven't ridden one yet. I think they look awesome.
yeah, they do
I
look
don't think
cool.
you're not getting the stiffness that you'd have with a 40 double, dual crown fork.
Yeah.
But you're also not with the, we were talking about Caballero. He had a 40 on his bike, and in the switchbacks, he's hitting the stop. It's much worse than the knock block that they had on the fork. It's a real limiting factor on some tight stuff. And some of the trails, Joey's ridden with me. There's some hairpins that you actually need to turn sharper than that. So you need to slide the back wheel or lift the front wheel.
And we'll be able to do that with the big Fox 40 on there. Says Electric Trail Surfer saying the bike has a VPP with 2 counter-rotating links, they call it. Virtual contact platform and has incredible geo. He's liking that bike. That one's the 180 full power Bosch. That's the bike to get. Huh.
So is he talking about the Amflow, or are we talking about which bikes he is?
I think he's talking about the Commensal Meta SX full power.
Yeah, so longer chainstay, a little bit longer wheelbase overall. Not as many adjustments. Like, I kind of like that new thing that they did, Pivot did, where you can take the collar out of the seat tube and turn it around and change the seat geometry.
Oh, whoa!
It's on the new. If you look at the Pivot LT,
okay,
you'll see that they've got a block that fits in the seat tube, and you can turn it around and change the seat tube angle by like 2 degrees, so you can make it more for short poppy stuff, or recline it and make it more for climbing.
That's on the shuttle. That's on the shuttle LT.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think we got it here. Let's pull this one up to the show. Shuttle LT. Is that the one?
That's the one. You see how the seat tube's real wide and rectangular?
Yeah.
And there's in a section probably below that on the website, they talk about how that piece is flippable. They got a funny name for it.
That's flippable. Whoa. This is Enduro electrified. Okay, let's see. Razor Sharp. Shop the Shuttle LT. Dial it in. Watt Fed Fury. Innovation. The Shuttle LT Cult brand pivot create a long travel Enduro e-bike that's hard to beat when it comes to adjustability and trail performance. The build is a mullet bike. Whoa. See, there's another sick bike. What the
There
heck?
it is.
Floating battery
Yeah, there's
technology.
the mixed heat tube. See that picture on the left?
Oh yeah.
You know, it turns that piece around, and then you can change the seat tube angle.
Holy crap! What will they think of next? And then this removable battery, like you could fly with this thing. Do you not have to drop the motor? It looks like you just open up that casing down there, and the battery comes out.
It's suspended too, so it's not a stress part of the frame. Doing the
What?
floating battery technology. That's something
Oh
that Mondraker is also doing.
Oh my God. See, there's so many cool things. Shuttle LT. What is this? See, it's funny because I just said earlier the weight I didn't really feel, but my first question is always like, I wonder how much it weighs. So there's something wrong with my brain and when it connects to my writing.
They do a couple weird things. They don't use the bolt pattern on the rotors. They use the lock ring, which makes it hard to upgrade, in my opinion. They
Like
put the
Shimano?
wheel sensor magnet is on the valve stem. And I'm one of those guys, this is maybe a conversation. I am sick of Presta valves.
Really?
Presta valves were designed for pressures over 120 psi or rims that were really skinny and drilling a smaller hole. Drilling a quarter-inch hole, there's plenty of room on a 30 millimeter wide rim. And I've gone back to the Schrader tubeless valve stems, and every pressure gauge works, every pump works everywhere I go. I'm not fiddling with adapters, and there's maybe an issue using that. You can see the magnet on the valve stem. So
Yeah, it looks like it's sitting on the block there.
Yeah, that's the magnet for the wheel sensor, the wheel speed sensor.
Oh, interesting.
And then they're full SRAM in all their kits, so they're SRAM brakes pretty much throughout and SRAM drive trains.
Okay.
They've got some tire width limitations, but they're beautiful bikes.
Yeah, they look. This looks pretty sick. So you being more of a Shimano guy, would this be a limiting factor with the SRAM build, or like a shopper like you or a rider like you? Would you want something with more Shimano stuff?
So my preference is TRP brakes or all the way around. I know the new Mavens are really good. I won't ride the regular SRAM. Lower the codes. I had really bad luck with the codes, trying every way to make them work. As far as the drivetrain goes, I hear the SRAM stuff is very robust. I just haven't owned a bike with it yet. I don't think the shifting is quite as smooth as the Shimano, but I think the durability is there. So I'd be willing to try a SRAM drivetrain. I'd be willing to try Mavens. I just wouldn't do like codes. They would come off. That'd be the first thing off the bike before I even built it.
Did you see you guys see all the funny memes going on about the brakes out there when they show like Maven's the bike stops, Shimano the bike instantly stops, and then the SRAM codes come through and the bike doesn't stop. The guy's like, help, as he's going through.
Oh yeah, I've tried bigger rotors and all the pad combinations and floating rotors, everything when I was trying to get my SRAMs to perform the best. And there are some designs. I mean, they bleed easier. They easy to change pads. I like that the levers can flip left to right. So people that want to run moto style, you can just undo the bolt and move it to the clamp. You know, the clamp stays in place. You just move the lever over. So there's some really good innovation there, but just the power output is not enough. And I was riding enough that I was waking up with arm pain, like pulling on those levers so hard. And when I went to TRPs on my last decoy, I did the Evo DHR, and I have the Evo Pros on my new decoy. And man, I can brake later, and it's much more control, and you can see it. My times got better. I'm a Strava junkie, so I ride a lot by myself. So I like to see how I'm doing against my times and against my friends' times. And my times got better going to TRPs. So, and then my decoy Core 4 that I ride currently, it came with the Hayes Dominion A4s, and I gave them a good run. They're really good, but I like the TRPs better for a few reasons.
I haven't tried the Hayes Dominion. What do those feel like? Joey, have you tried those? The Dominion?
I haven't. I'm TRP all day.
So the TRP uses a bushing in the lever, and the Hayes has a bearing in the lever, so you get a really smooth lever pull. What I didn't like is they don't retract as far. So when you brakes get hot, they're rubbing. You can't center them better. So when they're hot, they rub. The pads, instead of coming out the top, like most Shimano brakes and like TRPs, they come out the bottom. So you've got to remove the wheel to do a pad change. I do actually keep a spare set of pads in my backpack, and I can do a pad swap on the trail. So it's just more of a headache. It's not impossible, but the bleed process is a little harder. And then I found, like Shimano, the lever isn't as consistent, and I know exactly where my brake should bite when I'm pulling on the lever. So when I'm going downhill and I get on the brake and it pulls farther or doesn't, or it has doesn't pull as far, it's really concerning to me. I like to pull and feel the engagement at the same bite point every time, and I find that TRPs are really good with that. So tried my buddy's bike came with SRAMs, and I gave him my Hayes brakes because they're a big upgrade there. And some people like them better. The reviews are on par, but my preference is TRP. But the power is pretty close. Like a Hayes Dominion A4 to a TRP Evo DHR or the Evo Pro.
Huh. That's good to. Do you know much about the? I think Maven was trying to do that. I have Mavens on my decoy, and when I first jumped on those coming over from TRP, I was like, okay, I like the Maven has a lot of power. But there was something with the modulation, and I think they're trying to fix that. There's some kind of adapter you could purchase now or something. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, the new ones have a new swing link, and you can buy the part separately to upgrade the old brakes. It's about $110.
Yeah,
and it changes the lever pull ratio. It's kind of if you remember the servo wave levers that Shimano used to make, where they had a little ramp in them, so you pulled more cable at first, and then you had more power. It ends up doing that kind of thing to the power, so you can modulate a bit more and then get more bite.
I see. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's one of the things that when people jump on the decoy with the Mavens that I have, right away they're like, oh man, that's maybe too much power, too much bite for them. They would like more modulation. So it's nice that they're doing something like that. Kim, who rides Shimano, she has the XTs. She loves those brakes. She likes the way that they feel. She likes the cradle of the lever. And I feel like you can get a little bit of that cradle with Freedom Coast. I don't know if you heard of those guys, but those guys make some pretty sick levers.
I bought their levers and tried them. They're nice. It's the way your finger locks in, like when you're cornering and you're on the brakes, you feel like you can hang onto the bars better.
Yes.
But I also had to move the brakes inward on the bars about 1.5 inches, so that I could use just the tip of the lever.
Yeah, to get your right underneath your index finger.
Yeah, and shift and the way I wanted to and everything. So I had to move the levers all the way in. But they had a good feel. I liked them. I didn't stay with them. I decided I liked the overall. I liked braking and cornering and having those levers, but overall I liked the standard lever better and went back to the standard lever.
Gotcha. Yeah, there you go. Joey's pulled them up there. There's levers for the there you go. TRP Evo Pro and the TRP DHR Evo. Okay, what the heck is the difference there? TRP Evo Pro versus the DHR Evo? Is one just more powerful than the other, or
so the Evo Pro is the newer, and it's got a bite point adjustment and a separate reach adjustment, so you've got more control with the lever. The caliper is the same, and running, I have both sets. I think the Evo Pro is a 10% improvement. If you could find a set of DHR Evos on sale, I'd go with them. But you just have a little more adjustability with the new Evo lever.
Got it. Okay. They're beautiful brakes.
Same pads too, and the nice thing is the TRPs use the Shimano pad, so if you were traveling, you could find pads anywhere.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. What about the other ones that are out there? I haven't tried. There's so many I haven't tried. What's that?
Magura. A lot of people. I don't like the feel of Magura levers, and a lot of people use Shimano levers with Magura calipers. And call it
Shigura,
because they mix them. I think there's nothing more beautiful than the Hope brakes. They're just the way they're machined. But the power seems to be on par with what TRP is doing.
Okay. What about I'm blanking on the name now. Dang it. It'll come back to me. Senior moment.
The new trick stuff ones.
I was thinking of Saints. What about
Saints.
how are those?
Saints are still claimed to be the most powerful brakes out there. They just came out with a new, Lewis, also listed by
Yeah.
Electric Trail Server Lewis, and the Trick Stuff brakes look very similar. The Saints are the most powerful. There's a new XTR brake that it just came out. It's on Pink Bike today, and I think it was on Bicycle Retailer. Really good modulation, really nice setup, but they're still saying the Saint is the ultimate if you're looking for the most powerful Shimano brake.
Interesting. Wow, that's cool.
No one specs them on the bikes. I don't see Saints on anyone's e-mountain bike right now.
Yeah, I wonder why. Is that a marketing thing, do you think, or a distribution thing? Like it's a something thing? Because
for 4 years ago, because Saints have been around a long time, and 4 years ago, people were really talking about that as the really good brake.
yeah,
And then TRP stepped up, and then Hayes stepped up their game. TRPs went to a thicker rotor too, so they dissipate heat better, and the rotors don't warp. Actually, Joey knows the trail at Double Peak. There's a paved section up there. It's the steepest pavement in San Diego. It's white concrete. And on my first descent on my new bike, I brake really hard at the bottom because it's a 90-degree turn. And all of a sudden, I saw my front rotor just warp like a record.
Whoa.
It was glowing and it got all weird, and the lever went to the bar. And then as it cooled, it went straight. But then I went to a Magura floating rotor on that setup, and I didn't have any more problems with that. But I like the thicker rotors. So the TRP uses are 2.3 millimeters instead of 1.8.
Yeah, I remember when I got the TRPs put on, I was like, in my head, I thought they were going to go with the 220, like just a bigger diameter of rotor. And they're like, oh, no, these are thicker. You don't need to do that. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, when you go with a bigger rotor, you increase leverage. So that increases braking power. You gotta be careful with some frames. I know some people that do it on the rear brake. I find you're going to skid before you're going to hit max power on a rear brake anyway, but it also increases the leverage point on the frame. So when I was at Ellsworth, that broke frames. People would go with a bigger rotor and it would break the frame.
No kidding.
But with the forks, they're all designed to handle it. And definitely I run 220 in the front and the 200 in the rear, 203.
And and then like braking style, do you go double front and back brake, or are you mainly on the back brake? Because my son rides back brake a lot, and he's like jibbing all over the place. I'm the kind of guy that feels more comfortable pulling both brakes together.
So I'm a motorcycle rider too, and I use a lot of front brake. And I find that I wear my pads out pretty equally. It's pretty surprising when it's time to replace pads. Their front and rear sets are gone about the same amount of times, usually around like 320 miles for me for a set of pads.
Damn, that's nice. See, that's good. I like that. I made the mistake. I just replaced the front brakes, but I didn't replace the back brakes. So now my bite point's all off when I'm riding.
Mark, I like how Andrew knows exactly how many miles he's getting on a pair of brake pads. So he knows,
Dude, he writes this stuff down.
I'm riding mine until that steep hill that Andrew was talking about. I heard metal on metal, and I was like, oh, I think I need new pads.
It's dumb, but I keep a spreadsheet, and I know how long my tires last. And I like to see, like, I was trying different pads. I was testing pads for TRP, and they sent me 3 different compounds. And once I started doing that, I started tracking, how many miles I have when I replace pads, how many miles when I replace a front tire or a rear tire. And then when I think I like a tire, it's interesting to see that I was wearing out some rear tires from 350 miles and some go 800 or 900.
Right.
And lately I'm on Crip Totals. It's been my favorite. And I'm getting like 800 to 900 miles if I don't slash a tire before it doesn't work well and before I wear it down too far, which is far longer for a rear tire. My front tire is still handling good even as it's getting dry, and it's got about 1,200 miles on it, which is wild.
Holy cow.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I don't have a spreadsheet, but I do on my Strava. If anytime I add something to my bike, brake pad or anything, I'll name the ride, new pads or whatever it is, new tire today or what it was. That way I could go back technically and figure out how many miles I got out of it.
I see Electric Trail Surfer said he used to love Ellsworth. Yeah, it was killer design. Instant center tracking. It was a patent that was taken from Nissan from auto racing.
No way.
It worked really well. Bikes were made too lightweight for people that were hucking them, and that was a problem. And they were sponsoring the Flow Riders with their Joker and promoting you could use the bikes that way. And people were doing 15-foot drops to flat, and people started breaking bikes, and they weren't great with warranty. TRP pads. I see a comment from Electric Trail Surfer as well. I tried all their pads. Their blue pads are their resin, and I find that they heat up and get grabby. And
Okay.
their silver pads are metallic and they're kind of loud. And then they have a red set was my overall favorite. But I started running Top Break Red, which are available on Amazon, and I'm
Top
getting
Break.
really Top Break is the brand, and they have a red compound that I have found is the best one for my riding. I mean, one they don't like the blue pads that they were shipping stock in the TRPs. When they need to get warm to work well, and if you get them really hot, they glaze. So when you start to use them again, they're really loud. Once you heat them up, that goes away. But I found that with the Top Break Reds, they're consistent. They're quiet. They're not dirty. So I've had the best overall wear and ride with those.
So here's a question: when you're
Galfer 1652 is a great compound as well, but they're a little more money.
See, this is such good stuff to know. Thank you, SD Trail Rider 8070 for that question. When it comes to like, say I want to get Top Break Reds and I'm on Mavens, you're on TRPs, does it matter? I mean, if they're four piston, but how do I know if it's compatible?
So the pad shapes are different. So you got to buy the pads that fit your brake, but the compound is the same red, whether it's designed for TRP or any other brake. You just need to buy the right shape that fits your caliper.
I see.
When I say I like the red compound, those are really affordable, and
24
it's like $40 for a set of the Galfer 1652, and I don't find I'm not seeing the benefit. I used to buy them, but I started running these, and I've been really happy with them. I bought them on accident. I just needed a set of pads in a rush, and I bought them thinking I'll get the Galfers I used to run, and I found those Top Break pads work really well. So I've been running them for thousands of miles, gone through many sets.
I'll have to try that. And then going back to the tire thing, did you say 1,200 miles on a tire? Are those front tire? Okay, but still, would you say 800 for the back tire on an e-bike?
Yeah, 800 on the back tire.
These are Continental Cryptals you're on?
That's what the Crypt totals. Yeah, I can tell you. I pull up my spreadsheet while I'm talking to you, and
I'm curious, Joe. We should get him a set of versus the thick casing and see if how long those last.
Right, just to see how long.
Yeah.
Like I was getting out of a back tire, I ran Specialized Butcher Trail, got 577 miles. The eddy current at 745. So I mean, with most of the Specialized tires getting around 500 miles. I tried a lot of brand everyone. Well, I tried a lot of Kendas for a while. I was testing tires for them. I used to work with their tire designer when I was at Specialized. I liked them when they were free or cheap, but I wasn't super satisfied. I switched to the Crypt totals. They've been my favorite, and everyone else is running Maxxis. I mean, a lot of guys I ride like Maxxis, and I just haven't found them work well for my riding style. So I've tried all their different compounds. They didn't last long. The Maxxis came on my Core 4. I figured I'd ride them until they wore out. They didn't last very long, and I didn't have the confidence. And I find like with the Crypt Total front tire, I can feel it start to slide, and it doesn't go away. I can recover from front tire slides.
Yeah.
Did your Maxxis tire wear out, or did the sidewall give out?
If I didn't tear them, the YT was shipping the bikes with the cross country tires. They weren't even DH casings, or they're double down as they're calling it. So I had casing issues, but now I run the DH casing on the rear and the re-ride casing, I think they call it, in the front, the medium one. And I'm getting these things are wearing forever, and they as they wear, they still grip. So even when they look sort of worn, I don't find that I'm losing a lot of traction.
Nice. This is the tire right here, correct?
Yes. Yeah. They make a front and a rear specific, and then they do. I have my current bike's an MX, so 27.5 rear, 29 front. It's hard to find them wider. I actually used to run 2.6s on my first decoy, and I switched to 2.4s. Got a lot more steering precision, not as much comfort. and I'm now back on my older bike because my MX is in the shop because the motor is had issues. So it's interesting to see the comfort. The other big thing I realized, I put 10,000 miles on the first decoy. It's a 29 front and rear, and then I went to the MX, and I like how it jumps, and I like how it is in real tight technical stuff. But I just can't tell you how much faster the 29er rolls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell on the trail, and I just accelerating, and some of the streets we hit in my neighborhood are really steep. There's a street called Bolero that is like a corkscrew coming down, and I think you've done it with me, Joey, and you come ripping down this street, and I can hit 43 on my MX, and I hit 49.6 on the 29er doing the same thing. It just rolls that much faster.
Wow.
But really feel it on the trail when you just, I guess what I was reading, I wanted to read the science of it, so I did some research, and they're saying that the MX accelerates faster, which I didn't really notice, but the 29 rolls faster, and I really feel like the flowy trails, the bike just, you stop pedaling and it doesn't feel like it's like it's dragging. It just carries its speed. And
Interesting.
I wouldn't think, and you said this to me, Mark, you wouldn't think this would matter on an e-bike.
Yeah.
But you really feel it.
Interesting.
And I also think that affects range because, but I'm comparing different motors. I have an EP 801 on my newer decoy and an E8000 on the old decoy. But
That's
definitely both 720 batteries, and the range is definitely better on my older bike.
Wow.
That's why on my next bike, I'm definitely doing DJI motor with 32s.
They just coast all day.
Front and rear.
Once.
Where'd he go? Where do you go?
Where do you go? There's a dust cloud over here. Electric Trail Surfer is backing you up there. It says ceramic pads are the best for wear, modulation, and control. The red pad is the way to go. Interesting. He says, I run DH casing, mid-spike tires, front and rear for my e-bikes. Works amazing in the moon dust and kitty litter. Yeah, he's up in the North Star, Lake Tahoe area. DH casing always, and 2.4 and 30 millimeter to 31.5 millimeter rim is a sweet spot. The Spoke X SX 310 is the best wheel in my opinion. Ooh, Spoke X, talking some good stuff.
Spoke X is good. The 2.4 tires, a lot of people are going with wide tires, and the 2.4s really are turn better. So there's definitely going back onto a 2.6 that's on my bike now. As I replace them, I'll go to 2.4s. But there's some comfort with the bigger tire. You got more balloon. Also, true. I run inserts, which is a good bike debate to talk about. But I run the Vittoria inserts, and I like the rim protection. And I like that you can ride on a flat. I mean, if you're stuck, you can actually ride on it, where you can't do that at all if you don't have inserts. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm going up to Santa Cruz this weekend, and I think the owner of Tanis has a set of Tanis inserts for me, so I'm going to try it for the first time. Is it much of a weight penalty, and do I even need to worry about that when it comes to an e-bike? Like, I shouldn't, right? It's not that much.
I mean, rotating weight's the thing you're going to argue about. So we're going with heavier tire casings and inserts, and obviously also sealant, like 4 to 5 ounces of sealant in a tire. I don't feel the penalty. I do feel the cushion. I do feel like if there's several places where I don't get the back, I don't bunny hop. I'm going really fast and go over a curve and let the back wheel hit it. And I don't worry about denting the rim because I've got that insert in there. And the terrain I ride is super, super rocky. So it helps because the tire doesn't compress as far. You're not worried about getting the pinch on the tire or tearing the sidewalls as much. And it also controls because the way it fits into the rim and shapes into the tire, you don't get as much tire roll. So you can drop about 2 psi from what you normally ride and
get
have
more grip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Interesting.
Less sealant or the same amount of sealant?
I'm running the same. I run 4 to 5 ounces. I run a little more than some people. I know a lot of people run 2 to 3, but it also dries up. So it absorbs into somewhat the sidewall of the tire to fill any porous spaces in the tire. And then it dries up. So, the worst thing is if you've ridden your bike for a few months and you go ride, I've seen a lot of people show up, they hit something, get a flat, and we'll take the tire off and there's no sealant in there.
It's dry.
So I start with 4 to 5, but I ride often enough that I never have it dry out.
As far as tire pressure goes, are you the type of person that sets it and forgets it, like 21 in the front, 25 in the back, always every day? Or do you modulate your PSI based on where you're riding?
Most of my terrain I ride is Southern California. It's super rocky. So I run like 23 front, 25 rear. If I was up in Santa Cruz, I'd drop that because it's just so much smoother dirt, and you don't need. You'll get a lot of comfort, right? Your tire is your first line of suspension. So, back in the day, we used to run really high pressure on 26-inch wheels, and the bikes were so harsh. And now it's just nice to have that comfort feel, the grip, and so yeah. But I'm pretty consistent. I don't like denting rims, and the trails we ride, Joey can tell you, I mean, it's just boulders, So
yeah,
yeah,
Whistler's ball sack is one. I hear.
Whistler's ball sack is one.
Yeah.
Which, if
Joey,
anyone has ridden that, it's freshly graded. It's in really good shape. They've cleaned it up recently. The V41 downhill was run down that, so they went and really fixed the berms and cleaned up the lines on it. Still rocky, but it's better than it was.
Man, I got to get out there for one of those rides. That's all San Diego area, North County, San Diego.
Yes, Peak.
Yeah, I got to check that out. I know Joey went. He came get back and called me. He's like, dude, you got to go. You start from Andrew's house, and then you got to keep it in eco. Make sure you make it all the way around, because you guys are talking like, what, 20-something miles?
Yeah.
23, 25, 28, something like that?
20 miles, roughly.
My rides are usually about 16 to 18.
Sheesh.
But it's a lot of climbing. So
yeah, but we always have to make it back to Cab's house, so it's another mile. That's why I usually hit 20 by the time I'm done.
Is it uphill or downhill to Cab's house?
If somehow it's down, it feels like it. Well, I'm on an e-bike, but it feels downhill to Andrew's house and back from Andrew's house.
Carlsbad is wildly hilly. It's more than you'd ever think, and so yeah, there's hills everywhere. So Cab is in a straight line about 2 miles from my house. If you take and there's some bike paths you can do to about 2 miles. If you take a car, it's about 4.5 because you got to go kind of around Box Canyon, but it's hills everywhere.
Yeah,
man. There's are you like from Joey and Cab's area? Do you have to go across Calaveras to get to your neighborhood? Are you that way, or is it a totally different way?
No, he's south
of Calaveras, 10 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm on the edge of Carlsbad and Encinitas.
Oh, that's a 6 spot.
But the rides from my house, we barely touch the street, and we can hit Lacoste Preserve, Double Peak, and Elfin Forest, and the stuff off of Quest Haven as well. So there's 4 networks that connect with all these neighborhood trails. So I link them together.
What's the one, Joey? Where'd you guys ride this weekend? You and Cab rode the JP Black Mountain. Is that accessible to where you are too, Andrew? Can you get to Black Mountain from your area?
You could if you were on an analog bike, because I don't think your battery would make it.
It's a big ride. The Archipelago ride does link that, but you can see it from my rides, but it's a good distance. So that is more, if you go to Penasquitos, you can link Penasquitos and Black Mountain there. It's just east of Penasquitos Canyon.
I see. I gotcha. That's where a lot of that new stuff we're seeing too off the 56 is out there. That big step up and some drops. Electric Trail Surfer saying Jeremy McGrath lives in Encinitas. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Jeremy McGrath is just behind Lacoste Preserve. He's been riding with us lately. Yeah. He's on that site I shared with you on my Facebook page. He's in one of those rides.
Is he? Does that racer mentality come out when you guys are riding? Is he like, I'm gonna hit the whole shot, or is it chill?
So Jeremy just had hip replacements, both of them, and before that he had broken his femur. And I hate to say it disrespectfully, he got a little pudgy. He's now, on the last ride he came with us, he also brought his trainer, who's a nutritionist and trainer. Jeremy's fit again. Jeremy's super fit, and he rips. I mean, his bike handling skills. I mean, he was a BMX legend before he was the best motocross rider out there, and he rides a bike the same way. He's just totally in control and fast, cool. Super smooth.
That's cool. Yeah, he's a Spy athlete. I was down in your guys' neck of the woods this morning. I had to go to Spy to pick up some new glasses. They just released the Cyrus Switch, where the lenses are magnetic and you can pop them off your sunglasses and pop on a new lens. And they were talking about getting Jeremy McGrath and Axel Hodges out for a mountain bike ride. I'm like, dude, that sounds like it's going to be like riding with Cab. You pass something gnarly and you're like, oh, no, I know we're going to go do that. Here's a group here. Is this
right there. McGrath's in the all gray in the middle with the long pants. I'm next to him, to the left of him, and that's Cab in the red
white t-shirt.
Got a
Yeah.
bunch of
Dang.
fast guys out there that day.
That was a good day.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Sometimes it's crazy to think we live in such a mecca where all these like action sports stars are just all around us. It's crazy to think. Crazy to think.
I'm gonna look up where Wintergreen Street is in Carlsbad for electric
Yeah,
trail.
I was wondering that too.
Yeah, here he goes. Let's see. Is it this one? No, not that one. 6 ounces of sealant there for electric trail surfer. My uncle lives in Carlsbad on Wintergreen. There you go.
Okay, yeah, that's north of Carlsbad Village Drive. That's 10 miles north of me, but that's still Carlsbad. A lot of good riding. If you come visit your uncle, come ride with us.
Yeah, you should. Should. And then when we go to Tahoe, we should get up there. Heck yeah. We got Dogmatic 640 says, sup guys? What's up, Dogmatic? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We are talking about pretty much all things bikes, man. We've gotten from motors to rotors, brakes, tires. There you go. I will. Thanks, Andrew. There you go.
Bring your lights too.
What's that?
Electric Trail Surfer, bring your lights to Carlsbad. We do a lot of night rides too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You have a group. Tell everybody about the group. Is it for just all San Diegans who want to come ride with you guys, or?
Yeah, so I wanted to separate my bike life from my other life on Facebook. So I started North County San Diego EMTB rides, and I'm looking for local people that have an e-mountain bike that are intermediate or better. And I'm real careful. I take people on the rides as long as they're honest on their skills. I don't want to put them over their head, but I like to lead group rides. So I'll post and we'll get up to, as you saw in that picture, sometimes up to 20 riders. There you go. There's a big day. And I do a lot of riding by myself. It could be 2, 3, 4 guys up to a group that size. But the page is there for people to post local rides and find people with their ability level. And when I post my rides, I always list the ability level. And when people show up, we'll adjust the ride so that no one's, unhappy that the terrain's too hard.
Oh, that's cool.
Most people are, I don't lead beginner rides. And unfortunately, there are no beginner trails around me. I mean, my wife has a decoy also. And she rides beginner to intermediate, and she's happy at Vail. But the local trails here are they're either like walking trails or they're really hard. Everything around here is pretty challenging.
Yeah, techie and loose and rocky.
Yeah. Everything's steep, whether it's rocky or smooth, it's steep. So
yeah.
And I tend to like the chunky stuff if I have my choice.
For the night ride, for the group night rides, Electric Trail Surfer says, sweet, I have a 2000 lumen, I guess, light. I wonder what that is. I wonder what brand that is. I did it.
I run Outbound.
Yeah. Outbound's awesome. I was gonna say, what lights do you ride? Outbound seems to be the most legitimate. That's even a word.
Well, it's the most compact too. I mean, I started back in the day. My first real light was a Night Sun, when that was the first good mountain bike light with a water bottle battery. And then, a Night Rider, and I ended up working for them too with the HIDs that were really fragile. If you dropped it, you damaged a bulb. And now you've got this one light, and the batteries, is brighter than the older lights and super dense, compact, simple on and off the bike with their mounts, and great runtime.
Yeah, I was surprised, man. When we popped in those Outbound lights, we had one on the bar. They gave us two sets, right, Joey? One for our helmet, one for the bars.
Yeah.
And it was incredible on how long they lasted and how much they illuminated the trails. It was crazy.
Last time I rode mine, when I was on a sidewalk getting over to the trails, and cars were high beaming me.
Yeah, they're not focused like a car light. They're really bright on the street. And a huge tip for helmet lights, and this is something I designed helmet lights for motorcycle off-road, and much worse there than on mountain bikes. But if you put the light over your head and the light goes past your eyes, it's like driving in a snowstorm when there's dust.
Yeah.
So I buy the chin mounts that are designed for GoPros, and you get the light below your eyes, and you don't get blasted with all it doesn't illuminate the dust right in front of your face. It's substantially better. So Night Rider used to make a mount one on the side of the chin bar, and I have the what's called chinmount.com. They're made for GoPros, but the Outbound helmet light is a GoPro slide mount. So I put that on the chin instead of the top of the helmet, and it's so much better. It's also easier to cover. So if you're riding in a group ride and you turn around to see the guys behind you, you just cover it and turn so that you don't blast them.
That's what I
Nothing worse than being in the total darkness and having someone turn around with a helmet light and look you in the eye.
Blast you right in your eye as you ride off the trail. I can't see.
You can't see for a couple minutes. You're just seeing spots.
Yeah, I was trying to warn Steve about that when he borrowed mine. I'm like, just make sure when you turn to talk to people, you cover your light. That's one reason that night riding, that you see all the dust. So if you're putting that down low, that goes away.
It not 100%. I mean, you still have dust, but it's so much better. If not, when you're driving in a snowstorm, you see all the snow come at the windshield. The light over your head just illuminates that right in your eye path. Okay, so if you move the light, and the lower the light, the worse the shadows are too. So the idea of getting a helmet light, it helps that. So I know way back in the day when Specialized merged with Ritchie, Tom Ritchie used to like to mount the lights low on his forks. And I'm like, that's the worst because the rocks cast bigger shadows. The higher the light, the less the shadows.
Yeah.
But I love riding night. You don't have as many people on the trail. You'll see them if they've got lights coming at you.
Right.
And you're just focused on that little path you're riding, and you're not looking all around. I hate to say it's like a video game, but it's like a video game. You're just focused on that spot of light and staying in it.
I have had PRs at night, and I think it's one, you're not as tense. I guess you don't see all the little things that you would grab brakes for. You just I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but you also see a lot of eyeballs at night.
See a lot of animals.
Oh yeah. Green and red.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
The snakes aren't out, but the deers and around here. There's a lot of these long-tail mice.
Yeah, the mice,
deers,
the coyotes.
Coyotes.
Yeah, all the predators come out at night.
Yeah, there's a lot of birds that will sit on the trail and fly up and scare you too. So
right.
They're small, but they're startling.
That's cool. Night rides are fun. Definitely fun. We did that one and we were going through the trees. That was spooky. It felt like I was going to see the headless horseman come in the opposite direction of us. It was like that narrow tree-ish,
Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. I was going to turn off my light and disappear, man, if I saw something.
Oh, when you're by yourself and you're fixing a flat and you hear something in the bushes, it could just be a rabbit, but man, you can be scared. Yeah. Miles from pavement.
Like, I'm riding home on these rims. Oh, man. Andrew, it was awesome having you on the show. It felt great to be back talking about bikes, man. I loved everything that we talked about. Joey, is there anything that you wanted to ask Andrew before we sign off for the night about bike stuff or anything?
I just want to know when the next ride is, I guess.
Let's do it, man.
Sounds like Thursday, maybe?
Yeah, definitely Thursday.
Okay.
Let's get Friday. I'll be in Santa Cruz this weekend, but the weekend after, I want to join up with you guys. We'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. Andrew, tell the people where they can follow you on Instagram and how they can join your group on Facebook.
On Facebook, it's North County San Diego EMTB Rides. And I have an approval process because I keep people out. I kick people out too. If someone's posting ads and garbage, that's not what it's for. I want to keep it pure. And my full name, Andrew Siminoff, on Facebook or Instagram.
Sweet. Thank you, Andrew, for coming on and being on the show. This is episode 196, and we'll see you guys out on the trails on a trail near you. Yes, ready? Here we go. Phew. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you all soon. Bye.
All right. Cheers.